I want you to try something really quickly. Just close your eyes for a second and picture the word crystal. What is the very first thing that pops into your head?
Uh, I'm guessing for most people it's a chandelier. Or maybe like a very delicate wine glass you're absolutely terrified of dropping.
Exactly. Or jewelry sitting in a velvet box because you're afraid to scratch it. We have this really deep-seated cultural association with crystals. They are the ultimate definition of bling.
Right, they're fragile, they're purely ornamental.
Yeah, they're passive. They just sit there and look pretty. But what if that wasn't the whole story?
What if the bling was actually a functional piece of hardware?
Right. What if that sparkle could replace your business card or open a security door at your office or just launch a website on a client's phone just by tapping it?
It's wild to think about.
It is. So today we are doing a deep dive into a company called Crystocraft, and they're trying to bridge this gap I didn't even know existed, the gap between luxury aesthetics and actual digital utility.
And it's a fascinating intersection because usually those two worlds just do not talk to each other. Like when we talk about wearable tech or smart materials, what's the image that usually comes to mind?
Usually black plastic, silicone bands, very utilitarian stuff. Very, well, honestly, pretty ugly usually. It looks like hardware.
Precisely, it looks techy. But Crystocraft is approaching this from the exact opposite direction. They are taking high-end crystal materials, engineering them to be incredibly durable surfaces, and then embedding the technology inside them.
So they aren't trying to make tech look like jewelry.
Yeah, they're making jewelry that is tech.
We have a lot of ground to cover in this deep dive. We're going to look at two specific innovations from our sources today. First, there's crystal fabric, which is this wild material that turns crystals into a flexible surface.
Which sounds impossible, but it's really cool.
Yeah, and then we're going to see how they use that exact fabric in something called the CrystoCoin to potentially completely kill off the paper business card industry.
And that is a hefty goal. The business card industry produces just a staggering amount of waste, which we will get into later. But the core mission here is understanding how you merge luxury specs with smart tech.
So let's unpack this. We have to start with the material itself, because when I first read the phrase crystal fabric, I admit I imagined a shirt made out of glass, which sounds like a medieval torture device.
No, definitely not a shirt made of glass. Think of it more like a high-resolution screen, but the pixels are physical crystals.
Okay, walk me through that. How do you make a rock flexible? Because crystals break.
Right, so Crystocraft calls this an innovative technical material. And the key word there is technical. They aren't just taking a hot glue gun and gluing individual rhinestones onto a piece of cloth.
Okay, so what are they doing?
They are using microcut crystals. And we are talking tiny here, roughly 1 millimeter in diameter.
1 millimeter? That's essentially sand.
It is. It's crystal sand. They use a very specific mix of cut and uncut crystals, and they integrate this sand into a carrier material. Yeah, so because the crystals are so incredibly small, they move with the carrier. The overall sheet remains flexible. It flows sort of like a really heavy fabric.
Well, why go that small? I mean, if you want people to notice it, why not use big, flashy stones?
It all comes down to resolution. Think about it like a mosaic or a digital image. If you use massive stones, you can't make a complex shape or a logo with fine lines. It just looks blocky.
Right, it looks like an old video game.
Exactly. So by using this 1 millimeter crystal sand, they achieve incredibly high detail. You can have a logo with delicate curves and sharp angles, and the crystal fabric fills it in perfectly.
So it creates more of a continuous glow rather than just a distinct flash from one single stone.
Yes, it creates a continuous surface of sparkle. It's a texture. And crucially, it is smooth. It doesn't snag on your clothes like a traditional bedazzled jacket might.
Right.
It's actually engineered to be touched.
Now, the sources mentioned this stuff sticks to basically everything. I saw a list that included denim, glass, and even metal. And I have to ask, usually if I glue something to my jeans, it comes off in the wash after like 2 cycles. How are they getting around that?
This is where the science of it really comes in. It comes down to the chemistry of the adhesive. They don't use a one-size-fits-all glue. They use 2 specific types of film depending on the substrate.
Substrate being the fancy manufacturing word for whatever we're sticking this to.
Correct. So for soft materials, your fabrics, cottons, polyester blends, denim, they use something called hot fix film. This is a thermoplastic polyurethane.
That sounds intense.
It's actually very common in high-end manufacturing. When heat is applied, the film melts and physically bonds with the fibers of the fabric itself.
Oh, so it's not just sitting on top.
Right, it fuses with the weave. That is why it survives the washing machine. It literally becomes part of the garment.
Okay, so that makes sense for soft things. But what if I want to put this on a glass? You can't iron a glass.
Please do not try to iron your glassware.
Ah.
No, for solid, non-porous surfaces like glass or metal or paper, they use IT film.
IT film.
Yeah, it's a pressure-sensitive adhesive system. It essentially turns the crystal layer into an industrial-strength sticker.
You know, you brought up glass, and I have to mention the example from the reading because it just paints such a cool picture. They call it the smooth spin glass.
Oh yeah, that's a very clever application of the material.
It's a whiskey glass with a base completely adorned in this crystal fabric, and the design is shaped so that the glass can actually rotate on the table. So imagine you had a few drinks, you're chatting, you're just sort of playing with your glass, spinning it.
And because of the thousands of microcrystals on the base, as it spins, it catches the ambient room light from every single angle. It creates this mesmerizing dance of glitter and gleam on the table.
It turns the simple act of having a drink into a really kinetic visual experience.
It does. But they aren't just doing barware. I was actually surprised to see they're putting this on cars, too.
Yes, the Tesla logo stickers.
It's such an interesting choice because electric cars, and Tesla specifically, are generally marketed on minimalism. Very clean, very stark lines.
Right, and this adds a layer of texture and luxury back into that environment.
Exactly. It creates differentiation. If everyone in your neighborhood has the exact same car, how do you make yours feel special? A touch of crystal fabric on the steering wheel logo adds that personal customization.
And tech accessories, too. The sources mentioned a MagSafe wallet stand, and I see these everywhere now.
Yeah, so you have this device that attaches to the back of your iPhone magnetically. It holds your credit cards and acts as a kickstand so you can watch videos.
But usually those are just plain leather or cheap plastic.
Right. But CrystoCraft covers the entire front of it in this shimmering crystal material. So it basically turns your phone into a clutch bag or a piece of jewelry.
It softens the tech. Phones are so cold. Just glass and aluminum. This makes them warm and tactile.
That's a really key insight. It is all about texture. And actually, the texture varies significantly because there isn't just one type of crystal fabric. The source material outlines this whole hierarchy of sparkle.
I loved this part of the research. It felt like ordering a steak at a fancy restaurant. Like, I'll have the medium sparkle, please. Walk us through the menu here, because the differences really matter depending on what look you were going for.
It really is a menu. So we started with the standard crystal fabric. That's the 1mm sand. That is your high-definition option for fine lines and a subtle glow.
Okay, but what if I want to be louder? What if I want to be seen from across the room?
Then you move up to crystal fine rock. Now we're using 1.5mm crystals. The industry calls that size PP9. Because the crystals are slightly bigger, you get a much more three-dimensional effect.
So it catches the light differently.
Yeah, the light hits them and refracts more deeply. It's a deeper, more aggressive sparkle.
And if that is still too subtle for me?
Then you go straight to crystal rock. Now we are at 2mm, or PP14. These are for large logos where you want maximum impact. It's less about the fine detail and more about the flash.
Think of it like the headline font versus the body text.
That's a great analogy.
But then the list in the source material got a little weird. They have something called Crystal Medley.
Ah, yes. This is for the chaotic among us. Crystal Medley mixes the 1mm sand with much larger 2mm and even 3.8mm rhinestones. It's a completely random distribution.
So it looks a bit more organic.
Exactly. It is not a uniform grid. It looks almost like a rocky landscape or a cobblestone street made of diamonds. It catches the light in a very unpredictable way because you have all these different angles and heights mixed together.
And the last one on the menu was Geluchat, which I actually had to look up. Apparently that refers to stingray skin.
Yes, in traditional luxury leatherworking, Geluchat is shark or stingray skin. It has this very distinctive, bumpy, bead-like texture. It was super popular back in the Art Deco period.
So how do they replicate that with glass?
CrystoCraft recreates that exact texture using crystal beads mixed in with the sand. It creates an irregular 3D effect that the sources describe as smooth to the touch.
It's very tactile.
Very. You really just want to run your thumb over it.
It's fascinating that they can control the feel of the sparkle, not just the look. And I also read that they can actually print graphics underneath the crystals.
Yes, this is where the customization potential just blows wide open. It's called graphic printing. Because the crystals themselves are clear or semi-transparent, they can print images, colors, or patterns on the film below the crystal layer.
So I could have a leopard print pattern that shimmers.
You absolutely could. Or, more practically, a company logo where the specific brand colors are printed perfectly underneath, and the crystals just provide the texture and the light reflection on top.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it allows for branding that is incredibly specific, not just generic silver sparkle or gold sparkle.
Okay, so we've established that they can make anything sparkle, from a whiskey glass to a Tesla, and they can control the texture with incredible precision. But here is where this deep dive takes a massive pivot. Because up until now, this is all just cosmetic.
Right. It's pretty, but it doesn't actually do anything.
Exactly. But CrystoCraft isn't just selling sparkle here. They are selling a solution to a pretty massive global waste problem. And that brings us to the CrystoCoin.
And to understand why the CrystoCoin even exists, we have to look at the numbers of the industry it is trying to disrupt.
The numbers in the sources are honestly depressing.
88 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That is how many paper business cards are printed annually around the world.
88 billion. And let's be real with each other for a second. When someone hands you a paper business card at a conference, what actually happens to it?
I put it in my pocket. I feel vaguely guilty about it for 3 days. I might take a picture of it if I'm feeling really organized, and then I throw in the recycling bin.
Exactly. The conversion rate on those things is terrible.
The vast majority are discarded after a single use. It is a massive environmental inefficiency. You are cutting down trees, using water, bleach, ink, all just to print something that has a functional lifespan of maybe 48 hours.
So CrystoCraft says, stop printing paper. Enter the CrystoCoin. Describe this object to me because it sounds like a doubloon from a pirate movie, but from the future.
It does have a certain weight and gravitas to it. It is a physical, premium alloy metal coin, usually plated in gold, chrome, or rose gold. But it has a very specific dual-sided design that merges those two worlds we've been discussing.
Okay, flip the coin for me. Walk me through the sides.
Side A is the metal side. This side is fully customizable. You can do laser engraving, enamel relief work. You put your name, your company logo, your family crest there. But functionally, the solid metal acts as a shield. It completely blocks radio signals.
Wait, that seems counterintuitive for a tech device. Why would you want to block the signals?
Because you want to control the direction of the signal so it doesn't fire accidentally while it's just sitting in your pocket. The metal creates a backstop.
Oh, I get it. Okay, so side A is the shield. What is side B?
Side B is the crystal fabric side. It's fully covered in that sparkling material we just spent all that time talking about. But embedded underneath those crystals, completely invisible to the eye, is an NFC chip.
So that's the active side.
Exactly. You have a coin that looks like a high-end piece of jewelry. One side is your brand, the other side is the tech.
And it's super portable, right?
Very. It's coin-sized. They often attach it as a keychain charm. So instead of carrying a thick stack of paper cards in your wallet, which run out, they get dog-eared, they get dirty, you just have this one durable, premium object attached to your keys.
Let's get into the tech side of this. NFC. We hear this acronym a lot nowadays. It stands for Near Field Communication.
Correct. It's the exact same underlying technology used in Apple Pay or when you tap your credit card at the grocery store checkout.
But the beauty of this application, as I understand it, is the passive nature of it. The coin doesn't have a battery, does it?
No battery at all.
So I don't have to plug my business card into the wall every night?
No. And that is the magic of NFC induction. When you bring the coin close to a smartphone, the phone itself emits a very small magnetic field.
Right.
That field wakes up the tiny chip inside the coin, just enough to power it on and send a tiny packet of data back to the phone. It will last effectively forever without ever seeing a charging cable.
And the person I'm giving my info to, they need to download a special Cristo app to read it?
That is the critical friction point this solves. Absolutely no app required for the receiver.
Oh, thank goodness.
If I meet you and I want to give you my information, I just tap the crystal side of my coin to the back of your phone. Your phone natively recognizes the NFC signal and pops up a little notification banner. You tap that banner and boom, my contact info is right there on your screen.
That is huge. Because I have to say, I have a deep personal vendetta against QR codes at networking events.
You and everyone else.
You're standing there awkwardly holding your phone up, trying to get the camera to focus. The lighting is always terrible. Oh, wait, zoom in a little. It just kills the vibe of the conversation. It breaks eye contact.
It's the fumbling factor. QR codes require a direct line of sight, good lighting, and a steady hand. NFC just requires proximity. It's just a tap. It feels a lot more like a handshake.
It's much more organic to the flow of an actual conversation.
Completely.
So I get this coin. How do I actually get my info onto it in the first place? If I change my phone number, do I have to mail the coin back to a factory in Switzerland to get it updated?
No. And that ties right back into the sustainability angle.
Yeah.
It is fully rewritable by the user. You can program it yourself at home using standard, free apps like NFC Tools or NXP Tag Writer.
Walk me through that process. Is it difficult? Do I need to know how to code?
It's surprisingly simple. You literally just download the app. You select the right option. You choose the action you want. Let's say you wanted to share your V-card, which is your digital contact file, or maybe a URL to your design portfolio, or even just your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
You paste that link into the app. Then you just hold your own CrystoCoin to your own phone. The app burns that data onto the chip in a split second.
And if I get a promotion next week, or if I move to a totally new company?
You just open the app again, type in the new job title or the new website, and tap the coin again. It instantly overwrites the old data. The coin itself is a permanent vessel, but the data inside it is totally fluid.
That is incredibly cool. It completely changes the business card from a static, disposable object into a dynamic tool.
It connects back to this core belief that knowledge, or in this case contact info, is most valuable when it is accessible and totally current.
Right. A paper business card you printed 3 years ago might have the wrong extension on it.
Exactly. This coin is always current.
Let's talk about some of the use cases. We touched on the personal side, freelancers, sales reps, social butterflies just sharing their Instagram handles. But the sources mention some really high-level enterprise applications that go way beyond just, hey, here's my phone number.
Yeah, this is where we see the real power of the specific chip they use, the NTAG 215. It allows for some highly sophisticated event management scenarios. Imagine you are organizing a high-end conference or a VIP gala.
Okay, I'm picturing it. Champagne, fancy lighting, black tie.
Usually at those things, you get a piece of paper and a plastic badge on a cheap lanyard. It's not very elegant.
It kind of ruins the outfit.
It does. So instead, imagine you send your VIP guests a CrystoCoin in the mail a week before the event. When they arrive, they don't wait in a registration line. They just tap the coin at the entrance kiosk. Because each coin has a unique ID programmed into it, the screen can instantly greet them by name. Welcome back.
That is a really nice touch. It's much better than someone squinting at my chest trying to read my name tag.
But it goes even further than that. The sources mention gamification. You can actually set up stations around the venue. Attendees tap their coin to unlock a product demo or get a digital download.
Oh, like a high-tech scavenger hunt.
Exactly. Or you can do tiered access. Maybe the coin allows general entry to the floor, but if you tap it at the door to the VIP lounge, it unlocks because your specific coin is programmed for that access level.
And for the organizers, this must just be an absolute goldmine for data.
Oh, it's huge. It allows for real-time heat mapping. If everyone is tapping their coin at the dessert station, but nobody is tapping it at the sponsor's keynote speech, the organizers get real-time data on what is actually engaging their audience.
It's like Google Analytics, but for the physical world.
That's exactly what it is.
There was one other corporate use case that really stood out to me in the reading. The USB replacement.
This is a very practical one.
Because I have a drawer full of branded USB drives from various conferences over the years. 4 GB drives that I have never once plugged in. And honestly, I probably shouldn't plug them in.
You really shouldn't. Security is a major issue there. Many corporate laptops have actually disabled their USB ports entirely to prevent malware.
Oh, wow.
And just physically, a lot of new laptops don't even have the rectangular USB-A port anymore anyway. So the traditional USB promotional drive is rapidly becoming obsolete.
So how does the coin replace that?
Instead of the drive, you hand a client the CrystoCoin. They tap it. It immediately opens a secure browser on their phone directly to your digital product catalog or your presentation deck.
And that link can be tracked.
Yes. You can add what are called UTM parameters to the digital link. So you can see exactly who opened the catalog, when they opened it, and how long they spent looking at it.
Which you absolutely cannot do with a physical USB drive.
No, a USB drive is a black hole. You never know if they actually looked at the PDF or just threw it in a drawer.
Plus, the always current aspect applies here, too.
Right. If you hand out a USB drive with the PDF on it, that PDF is frozen in time. If your prices change next week, the client has the old prices. With the coin, you just update the file on your website. The client taps the exact same coin a month later, and they see the new prices.
That's brilliant. It creates a bridge between a physical gift, which feels premium and heavy in the hand, and ultimate digital flexibility.
It is the perfect convergence. We started this conversation talking about crystals as pure decoration. But Crystocraft has essentially turned sparkle into a highly efficient delivery mechanism for data.
They have taken the bling and given it a brain. And they have done it in a way that actually addresses a massive global waste issue.
That is the real takeaway for me. Moving away from disposable paper and cheap plastics to reusable, durable luxury materials is a significant shift in how we think about networking. It defines smart luxury. You get the visual appeal, the whiskey glass spinning in the light, the keychain catching the sun. But underneath all that, there is genuine utility that makes life easier and cleaner.
And it respects the user's time. No typing in long phone numbers, no scanning fussy codes, just a tap.
It simplifies the interaction. And in a world where we are constantly overwhelmed with information and steps, simplicity is the ultimate luxury.
So here's the question I want to leave you, the listener, with today. We've talked about how you can program these coins to do almost anything. Open a website, share a contact card, connect to a Wi-Fi network, launch an AR video.
The flexibility is really the main feature.
If you had a business card that wasn't just a static piece of paper, but a magic button that could trigger any digital action on someone else's phone, what would you program yours to do? Would it be your resume, a video introduction, or maybe just a link to your favorite playlist?
That is a great question. It challenges us to think about what our personal brand actually look like in the digital age. Is it just a job title printed on a card? Or is it an interactive experience you share with someone?
Definitely something to chew on. And in the meantime, keep sparkling and stay smart. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Take care, everyone.